Hello everyone. For the last few months, I have been trying to learn how to make game in Godot. I am facing many problems during it, and for the most of them, I am finding a solution online or by some trial and error. But for some of the problems, it is being quite difficult to find a proper solution. So I thought maybe others are also finding similar problems and they might find my solution helpful also. So I decided to make some videos on them. Hope you find them interesting and helpful. So I have a pretty bad eyesight and I really like it when games have a UI scaling option in their settings. I also wanted to add a settings to scale UI in my games. Here is how I am implementing it. The most important line of code that I am using to scale the UI is this. Changing its value will change the UI scale of everything in the game. Here I'll quickly make a main menu and then make a settings menu to show how we can integrate this line with our UI to get a result like this. So let's get started. Here we have a Node 2D as our main scene. Now let's add a canvas layer so that we can add all the other UI elements to it. The reason I am using a canvas layer is because a canvas layer automatically covers the whole game window, so we can easily anchor our UI elements on the screen. This way, even if the game runs on different resolutions on different monitors, the UI elements will automatically adjust their positions and size. First, let's make 3 buttons for the main menu. A start button, a settings button, and a exit button. We want them to appear vertically, so let's put them inside a VBox container. Nice. Now let's add a simple background image. I'm using this free background from itch.io. We are using a texture rect for the background because texture rects are also control nodes which allows them to automatically scale and reposition themselves when the game screen size changes. Next, let's put the background image and the buttons inside a control node. We can also change their locations easily, like this. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now let's make the settings UI. For the settings UI, we also use a control node as a root node. And for the background, we use a color rect. Now to modify the UI scale, we will use a horizontal slider control node. We add a level to show its name and also another level to show the current value of the slider. Let's put them in a HBox container so that everything appears in a single row. Since just a single row looks so lonely, let's add another slider for adjusting a volume of the game. This slider won't be doing anything for now, it's just there to eventually support the other slider. We add another level for showing the settings. Nice, it's looking pretty good. Now let's add some functionality to all the buttons and sliders. First, we attach a script to the main menu. We make 3 variables for each buttons and a variable for the settings menu. Note that I'm exporting these variables so that we can easily drag and drop their reference here in the inspector. You might think, why do this instead of using this $sign to get the reference to the node? It is a good way when our node structure is very static. But for UI nodes like our main menu, we might change the UI structure later to make it look better. And in that case, our code might break and we need to refactor the code. So to avoid that and to keep our code as less dependent on the UI structure as possible, we can export a variable like this and then drag the node that we want to reference to like this. Now, even if we change the UI structure, the reference to the node will remain the same and we don't need to change the code. This also makes our code look pretty cool, I think. Now that we have all the variables for the buttons, we need to define what happens when those buttons are pressed. All the buttons have this signal called pressed. We will connect this signal with a function so that when the button is pressed, this function will be called. If we press the start button, our game should start, but we don't have anything yet, so it's empty for now. If we press the exit button, the game should exit. The settings node should remain invisible by default, and when we press the settings button, it should toggle its visibility. Now that the main menu is working, let's complete the settings menu. Just like the main menu, here we also attach a script and then export the variables. But in this case, we need to export 4 variables. One for the UI slider and one for its level, and another one for the volume slider and another one for its level. Now if we look at the signals of a slider node, we can see it has a signal called drag ended. So whenever we press the mouse button, drag the slider, and then release the mouse button, this signal will be emitted. We will use this signal to know when the user is changing the UI scale. So we connect this signal with a function and then put the code I showed earlier into it. We will also update the level so that it shows the correct value for the UI scale. That should work for now. Let's check. It is working as intended. Very good. You might notice there is also this signal called value changed that we can use to adjust the UI. This signal is emitted even when we are dragging the slider. This might seem like a good idea as we can see the change in the UI as we are dragging the slider, but soon you will notice that there is a problem. It causes a bit of wonkiness because of the size of the slider itself is also changing when you are dragging the slider. So I am using the drag enter signal instead. Now what is left is to add a way to close the settings menu after we have opened it. Let's add a texture button here, anchor it to the right top corner, export it from the UI script, and finally add a function that will be called when the button is clicked. When it is clicked, it will simply hide the settings UI. So here is the final result. We start the game, we click the settings button, we adjust the UI slider, and it works. Amazing. And there we have it. We have a functional UI for adjusting the UI size of the game. Okay. If you are wondering why the UI in the thumbnail look different from the UI that we just made, that is because I used a theme in the thumbnails. Yes, that is right. We can actually make themes in Godot. We make them once and use them unlimited times. I was planning to show how to make the theme as well, but since this is my first time recording, editing and voicing a video, I wanted to keep it short. Please let me know how the video was, and any suggestions to improve the video is very much appreciated. After I have learned how to make a theme properly, I'll definitely make a video on it too. Till then, bye bye.